They tell you that crack doesn't have a physical withdrawal, but they don't talk about the mental void. You start doing it because you are bored, but eventually you do it because you are empty. I have had people stop me on the street, look me up and down, and offer me $12 for my dignity. $12. You have to take that $12 and shove it down just to survive the day. I feel like I am losing my mind out here. Welcome to Philadelphia, the birthplace of the United States Constitution, a document meant to enshrine liberty, justice, and the pursuit of happiness. Yet, here on these specific streets, the sidewalks serve only to shackle humanity to the brutal, unforgiving mechanics of basic survival. In the heart of the city of brotherly love, the opulence of glass-clad skyscrapers casts a long, freezing shadow over avenues that have been entirely abandoned by the American dream. Do not let the dazzling neon lights and the historic tourism brochures deceive you. Take one wrong turn off the commercial corridors, and you will plunge headlong into a parallel society operating in broad daylight. I am Jack. Welcome to Homeless US. Today, we are not just observing the crisis, we are dissecting the unwritten rules of the sidewalk. From the airtight thermodynamic tactics used to defy the lethal code blue blizzards, to the treacherous underground economy of Kensington, we are mapping the survival biology of the unhoused. Are you ready to witness how life clings to the ashes of a collapsed system? Step with me into the shadows that the city's security cameras were specifically designed to ignore. Stay with us until the end. What you learn today will permanently alter your understanding of the modern American metropolis. Part 1. The Blast Zone, Kensington and Allegheny. Forget the postcard version of Philadelphia. If you take the Market-Frankford Transit line to the Allegheny stop, you are stepping directly into the blast zone of a modern-day structural collapse. This is no longer merely a struggling neighborhood. It has transformed into a high-stakes survival laboratory where the basic laws of human biology and sociology are under constant, relentless assault. At the infamous intersection of K and A, the unhoused do not just live. They meticulously calibrate their every physical movement to avoid a total systemic shutdown. Survival in this specific concrete wasteland requires a PhD in street-level triage. The first thing you notice is the physical posture of the people. You see human bodies folded at impossible, gravity-defying angles, suspended in a chemical purgatory. This is the result of the highly potent, unregulated synthetic mixtures that have completely hijacked the local supply chain. These mixtures often contain powerful veterinary sedatives, which induce a state of profound physiological distress. This is not a choice, it is a biological hostage situation. These compounds cause severe, necrotic skin conditions that simply refuse to heal in the damp, unsanitary environment of a public sidewalk. A street veteran knows that a simple scratch here can quickly escalate into a life-threatening systemic infection. Without access to sterile water, clean clinics, or fresh bandages, the Kensington kit becomes an absolute survival essential. It is a desperate, hoarded stash of saline, tattered gauze, and whatever antiseptic fluid can be scavenged from local pharmacies or outreach teams. You either learn to aggressively clean your own wounds with stagnant tap water, or you watch your physical health deteriorate before your very eyes. In this environment, a clean, sterile bandage is arguably worth more than $100 bill. A functioning lighter is the difference between a hot meal and a slow descent into hypothermia. The social hierarchy here is brutally utilitarian. You do not sleep alone. If you are unconscious and isolated, you immediately become a target for opportunist predators who will systematically strip the insulated boots off the feet of a sleeping man. Survival dictates the formation of a strict, rotational watch system. You find a street family, a ragtag, tactical unit where one person stays awake, maintaining hypervigilance, while the others attempt to catch 2 hours of fragmented REM sleep while leaning against a brick wall. This is not paranoia. It is calculated, necessary risk management in a geographic zone where the authorities have effectively ceded the pavement to the highest bidder. Then there is the daily ritual of medical resurrection. Every seasoned veteran on these streets carries at least 2 doses of reversal medication. Like a soldier carries extra ammunition. When someone collapses, the response from their peers is mechanical, rapid, and devoid of visible emotion. You tilt the head, you administer the dose, and you desperately pray their respiratory system kicks back into gear. It is a grueling cycle of bringing neighbors back from the brink, sometimes 10 times on a single city block. Controversially, many outsiders looking in argue that this harm reduction philosophy merely prolongs the crisis. But on the ground, the logic is brutally simple. You cannot get someone into a rehabilitation program if they do not survive the night. The economy here is purely extractive. You don't hold down a traditional job. You hustle. You collect scrap metal from abandoned industrial warehouses, or you facilitate small street-level transactions just to earn $3 for a sandwich. Every single calorie consumed is mentally tracked. Every watt of cellular phone battery is fiercely guarded. If you cannot find a drop-in center to charge your device, you are immediately cut off from the only digital lifeline you have to the outside world. In Kensington, the concept of the American dream hasn't just faded. It has been stripped for parts and sold on the corner. This is the raw, bleeding edge of urban survival. Part 2. The caloric extraction hunting for fuel. In the sprawling, concrete labyrinth of Philadelphia, calories are not just food, they are currency. Hydration is not a right, it is a complex tactical maneuver. To survive out here, you do not simply look for food. You execute a calculated extraction mission before your body hits a critical metabolic wall. In a city overflowing with five-star bistros, celebrity chefs, and luxury dining, the most brutal hunger games are being played out in the dark alleys behind their dumpsters. First, you must abandon the fairy tale concept of organized, easy charity. On the Philly streets, timing is the only thing that matters. If you are a man seeking a meal, you must hit specific logistical checkpoints, like St. John's Hospice, by exactly 12 p.m. sharp. Arrive 5 minutes later, and you are staring at an empty, scraped pot. These facilities pump out hundreds of hot meals daily, but the line snakes around the block, thick with desperation, for those seeking a shred of psychological dignity with their caloric intake. Places like the Broad Street Ministry are the gold standard. They run a radical hospitality model where you are seated and served like a respected guest, rather than processed like a stray animal. However, the wait times for this level of care are grueling, and the demand vastly outstrips the supply. Consequently, many veterans of the sidewalk turn to strategic urban foraging, specifically dumpster diving behind high-end, organic grocers in Center City. It is a high-stakes biological gamble. You are looking for sell-by discards that haven't yet reached the point of toxic rot. Would you trust a discarded, day-old artisanal sandwich more than a highly processed, government-funded shelter meal? Out here, given the nutritional value, most people do. Securing clean water is an even deadlier challenge. As corporations, coffee shops, and fast food chains increasingly lock their restrooms behind digital keypads or customers-only policies, finding a place to hydrate or wash becomes nearly impossible. The subterranean hub beneath Suburban Station becomes the ultimate tactical objective. It is one of the few remaining places to refuel, clean your hands, and secure the where to turn guide, the literal, printed survival Bible that maps every active soup kitchen, warming center, and mobile outreach van in the 215 area code. Without that physical map, you are navigating completely blind. Controversially, the most efficient and practical survival kits are not currently coming from the inflated city budget. They are being handed out by mobile outreach units, grassroots organizations that understand a clean pair of socks, basic first aid, and a high-calorie granola bar do significantly more for immediate biological survival than a 10-year municipal housing plan ever will. The street is a fast-paced, cutthroat environment. The weak are bypassed, and the prepared eat just enough to see another sunrise. If you aren't actively hunting for your next 2,000 calories by the time the sun comes up, your body is already losing the war of attrition. Part 3. Thermodynamic engineering the lethal climate. Philadelphia's climate acts as a specialized executioner. Out here, the weather is never a topic for polite small talk. It is a lethal, fluctuating variable that requires precise tactical countermeasures. When a code blue is declared, and the mercury drops below 20 degrees Fahrenheit, accompanied by a wind chill that cuts through denim like a jagged blade, Your margin for physical error drops to absolute zero. Survival rapidly transitions from finding food to a desperate game of thermodynamic engineering. You do not just put on a coat, you build an insulation system. The true professionals of the street use the newspaper sandwich. This technique involves alternating layers of dry newsprint and industrial-grade, thick plastic trash bags, all tucked inside a heavy-duty sleeping bag. It is the only cost-effective way to trap a pocket of 98.6-degree metabolic air when the city around you has become a walk-in freezer. In a code blue blizzard, the difference between a survivor and a morgue statistic is often a $2 Mylar space blanket and physical access to a subway steam vent. Consequently, as the sun sets, the strategic migration to the underground infrastructure begins. Suburban station and the SEPTA transit concourses become high-density heat zones. But even there, the air is thick with the scent of wet wool, unwashed bodies, and profound desperation. Conversely, the summer griddle presents an entirely different biological threat. When the humidity hits 90% and the dark asphalt cooks at 130 degrees Fahrenheit, your primary enemy is rapid metabolic overheating and severe dehydration. Water becomes critically scarce because many local business owners have weaponized their exterior faucets, locking them down or removing the handles entirely to keep the unhoused element away from their property. We must ask a moral question: is it a crime to thirst, or is it a moral crime to deliberately deny a human being a drink of water during a lethal heat wave? To counter the oppressive heat, street veterans exploit specific urban microclimates. They seek out the exhaust vents from deep basement air conditioning units, or they claim the heavily shaded alcoves of brutalist concrete architecture that the sun's rays cannot physically reach. Furthermore, the city's aggressive policy of tent sweeps has turned basic survival into a highly mobile war. Every single time a camp is bulldozed by sanitation crews, a person loses their vital thermal barrier. They lose their blankets, their tarps, and their meticulously gathered insulation. It appears to be a calculated move by the municipality to make the street so physically uninhabitable that disappearing becomes the only viable option. But these people do not magically disappear into thin air. They simply retreat to darker, colder, and far more dangerous corners of the city to endure. In Philadelphia, the extreme weather does not kill you nearly as fast as the city's systemic indifference does. Part 4. The Triage of Failure Statistics and Spillover. Data does not bleed, but the streets of Philadelphia certainly do. The current municipal statistics are a heavy punch to the collective gut of the city. We are looking at a hard count of roughly 5,500 individuals completely trapped in the cycle of homelessness. But we must understand that this is not just a number on a spreadsheet. It is a documented failure rate. Behind every published statistic lies a physical body that the city of Philadelphia has implicitly written off as an acceptable societal loss. The geography of this crisis has fundamentally shifted. It has moved from centralized, isolated clusters into a fragmented, citywide phenomenon. While the sensationalist media headlines obsess almost exclusively over the grim optics of Kensington, the reality on the ground is a tactical spillover. When the city aggressively sweeps one block, the unsheltered individuals, those sleeping in the most raw, exposed conditions, do not evaporate. They are simply forced to redistribute into the commercial veins of Center City, the transit hubs, and the neighborhoods of South Philly. The demographics of this population are equally brutal and often misunderstood. We are not just talking about the stereotypical, solitary drifter. The 2026 landscape of the street is populated by a highly lethal mix of vulnerable demographics. You will find aging military veterans. You will find individuals who have been entirely discarded by a broken, underfunded mental health system. And most terrifyingly, you will find a staggering number of whole families who have been crushed by a massive 64,000 unit deficit in affordable housing. Consequently, the city has become a socio-economic pressure cooker. We have to ask, is this merely a crisis of housing, or is it a profound crisis of conscience? What does it say about our civilization when we place a higher value on commercial property taxes than we do on a human being's fundamental right to breathe under a secure roof? Strategically, the municipal government is currently operating on a strict triage basis. Recent administrative initiatives, often marketed under banners of cleaning and greening the city, are, in reality, a kinetic war on visibility. By aggressively clearing highly visible encampments, the city is forcing a high-speed migration. This forced movement makes tracking, treating, and aiding these vulnerable people nearly impossible for medical outreach teams. It is a high-stakes game of hide the body, played with live, suffering human beings. Moreover, the massive influx of high-potency synthetic substances has fundamentally altered the biological reality of the street survivor. These compounds make them significantly more resistant to standard medical outreach, yet vastly more vulnerable to rapid physical decay. This is no longer just a localized neighborhood issue. It is a localized collapse of the American dream, where the only visible growth industry is the one manufacturing more emergency cots for overcrowded, temporary gymnasium. Part 5. The Kinetic War, Hostile Architecture and Sweeps. Survival in Philadelphia has transitioned from a desperate struggle against the forces of nature to a high-stakes, evasive maneuver against the actions of the state. The administration's clean and green initiatives are rarely viewed by the unhoused as sanitation projects. To the people on the street, they are kinetic sweeps explicitly designed to scrub the unsightly human element from the lucrative, tourist-heavy corridors of Center City and historical districts. When the city declares a cleanup, they are not just removing trash, they are legally seizing and destroying the only physical barriers between a human being and the freezing concrete. The enforcement of these policies has become surgically precise. Police units and sanitation crews deploy together, often utilizing heavy machinery to bulldoze entire encampments. In a matter of minutes, they can effectively vaporize a person's entire accumulated life, their state identification, their vital prescription medications, and their essential thermal survival gear. To stay alive in this hostile environment, the unhoused have been forced to adopt a philosophy of radical mobility. You no longer set up a home. You set up a temporary crash site that can be completely broken down and packed into a single bag in under 120 seconds. Consequently, the new tactical move is the ghost shift. This involves sleeping in high visibility, heavily trafficked areas during the day, where the presence of crowds provides a very thin layer of safety against assault. Then, as night falls, they migrate to dead zones, industrial parks, or abandoned lots specifically to avoid the early morning sweep crews. Furthermore, the city is actively weaponizing the architecture itself. We are witnessing a massive surge in hostile design. This includes spiked concrete ledges, public park benches divided by metal armrests to prevent lying down, and alcoves barricaded with iron fencing. These structures are specifically engineered by urban planners to deny the exhausted human body a place to rest. We must ask, is a sidewalk truly a public space if the simple biological act of sitting down on it is treated as a criminal offense? Moreover, the legal landscape surrounding homelessness has become a treacherous minefield. While the city heavily promotes new wellness villages and temporary sanctuaries, the reality is a severely bottlenecked system with a miles-long waiting list. This creates a terrifying survival paradox for the individual. The law demands that you move immediately, but there is absolutely nowhere legally sanctioned for you to go. Those who refuse to disappear, or who are simply too physically exhausted to move, find themselves caught in an endless cycle of quality of life citations. These minor tickets quickly bury them under a massive paper trail of municipal debt that they can never, ever hope to pay. Ultimately, the implicit policy of the city is not housing first, it is out of sight first. It is an urban purge masked as civic progress. It forces the absolute most vulnerable citizens into a perpetual motion machine of misery, where the only way to win is to remain entirely invisible to the very security cameras that were installed to protect the public. Part 6. The Fog of Isolation, Psychological Survival. This sustained, forced isolation creates a profound social death long before the physical body actually fails. The psychological toll of being treated as human refuse is arguably more devastating than the cold or the hunger. To counter this crushing isolation, street families form highly unstable, high-risk tactical alliances. In these groups, the only true bond is shared trauma and the mutual, desperate need for a lookout while someone attempts to sleep. However, these bonds are incredibly fragile. The moment the survival resources dry up, when the food is gone or the weather turns lethal, the family often evaporates as self-preservation takes over. Can genuine human connection exist in a place where the only thing people truly share is a desperate, ticking countdown to the next meal? Consequently, many individuals succumb to what is known on the street as the fog. This is a severe dissociative state. The human brain, overwhelmed by chronic trauma, effectively shuts down its emotional processing centers just to endure the daily, grinding indignity of begging for spare change. Furthermore, the constant, looming threat of municipal sweeps means that you can never form a sense of place or belonging. You are constantly in motion, leading to a fractured psychological reality where the concept of tomorrow simply does not exist. There is only the immediate, terrifying now. Controversially, some veterans of the Sidewalk argue that the illicit substances are not the primary, originating problem. Instead, they view them as the only accessible, albeit highly destructive, medicine for a soul that is being systematically crushed by a society that often treats a stray dog with significantly more empathy than it treats a human being in a tattered coat. It is a brutal, invisible internal war where the primary objective is no longer to achieve happiness or success. The sole objective is simply to remain sane enough to force your eyes open when the sun comes up. The outrow, the systemic purge, the survival data, and the lived realities on the streets of Philadelphia lead to a singular, brutal conclusion. The system isn't broken. It is functioning exactly as it was designed to efficiently filter out the economically weak. We have analyzed the thermal physics of surviving a code blue night. We have mapped the cutthroat, desperate calorie hunting in Center City. We have documented the evasive maneuvers required to dodge the sanitation bulldozers. But the hard, inescapable truth remains. No amount of tactical street smarts, no amount of thermal engineering, and no amount of resilience can outrun a systemic, municipal purge. We do not merely have a homeless problem in Philadelphia or in America. We have a human recycling problem, where those deemed unproductive by the modern economy are simply left to biodegrade on the curb. Ultimately, the city's current trajectory of aggressive encampment sweeps and hostile, spiked architecture is not a solution. It is a high-speed shell game. Shuffling broken bodies from one commercial block to another industrial block does not save a single human life. It merely buys time for the administration until the next news cycle begins. Consequently, until we pivot our society from managing the optics of misery to a genuine philosophy of housing, first, the sidewalks of this nation will remain a kinetic, unforgiving war zone. Are we currently watching the temporary decline of a great historical city? Or are we bearing witness to the cold-blooded, calculated evolution of a society that has definitively decided that basic human empathy is simply too expensive to maintain? This is not just a conversation about charity. It is a conversation about the technical survival of our own collective humanity. The clock is ticking loudly. The mercury in the thermometer is dropping fast. And on the streets of the 215, hope is a luxury item that has been out of stock for a very long time. We want to hear from you. Have you seen the implementation of hostile architecture in your own city? Do you believe the system is broken or functioning exactly as intended? Please share your thoughts, your experiences, and your emotions in the comments below. We read every single one, and your voice is critical to exposing this reality. If you believe that housing is a fundamental human right, and that no one should be bulldozed into the shadows, please support this channel. Hit the like button to help the algorithm push this message to the people who need to hear it. Subscribe to Homeless US and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our next investigation into the hidden corners of America. Share this video with your community, your family, and your local representatives, because the more people who understand the mechanics of this crisis, the harder it becomes for the world to look away. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your empathy. We will see you in the next story. Together, we can make the invisible visible. This is Jack, signing off. Stay warm and stay compassionate.